Welcome back to this edition of MBC Sports. This past September, the Mason football team celebrated their 50th anniversary by hosting alumni who suited up in the green and white over the past 50 years. It was a night to catch up with former friends and coaches. In attendance that night was Rance Allen, who played on one of Mason's earliest teams. Just days after the alumni game, Rance was diagnosed with terminal pancreatic cancer. Allie Eckes has an inspirational story on Mason's alumni, Rance Allen.
Friday, September 2nd, 2011, was not only Mason's 50th home anniversary football game, but it was also the day that brought back many memories for Mason alumni, Rance Allen. He had the opportunity to catch up with old friends, coaches, and teammates who he hadn't seen in over 50 years. Just 3 weeks after the game, though, Rance received the news from his doctor that he had been diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. It's been a tough ride since then, but making the decision of going to that Mason football game and seeing the people that he grew up with has helped him have a stronger outlook on what the future holds. Rance realizes that some of his most fondest memories involve being a kid and that it only lasts so long.
You know, I ran into a lot of friends at the 50th anniversary football game, but wasn't long after that, about a month and a half, I was diagnosed with stage 4 terminal pancreatic cancer, which I didn't know I had till about 3 months ago. But you know, when I first heard about it, I was kind of reluctant about going. I was working a lot of hours and everything, and had been ill for a while and wasn't feeling real good. And right at the last minute, I got home from work and decided I'd go, and hopped in the shower and headed over to Mason. Since I live in Indiana, it's a pretty good drive, but I don't regret it at all. One of the best times I've had in years. I got to see guys I played football with years ago. I played on the second year for Mason when they had football, and it was fairly a new program, coached under Tom Lichtenberg, who was a great peer, a great teacher, and even a greater coach. And but I got to see him, and it was just a good time. I stayed for the whole game. It's a shame Mason lost, but they made a very good showing. I was impressed with Coach Kastner's football team, and I think he runs a pretty tight ship. I got to hear him talk to his team before the game started. He's definitely is a motivator, just like Tom Lichtenberg was. And you know, you still think about people off and on through the years, and I'd say on a weekly basis, there's a man that I've thought about and have thought so highly of through the years that he was a great inspiration to me. Not only did he teach football well, he taught you about life well and tried to prepare you for it. And you know, I was one of those that was kind of hard-headed in high school and pretty rebellious in that. And I wished I'd have listened at an early age to him, what he had to tell me. But I didn't listen all that close to him. But you know, all those things come back to you as an adult, peers like him, and I've got to be able to use some in the last 20 years, some of his morals and the thoughts that he had implanted in my mind. You know, it's that heritage.
Mason football coach Brian Kastner was able to meet Rance at the game and could see how happy he was to be back at a place where he spent most of his teenage years, the field.
The night of the 50th anniversary was to bring everybody together. from the last 50 years, which is called the Long Green Line. And I didn't know exactly how it would go, but it went exactly how I wanted it to go, other than we lost the game that night. But we got a lot from the event and bringing everybody back, and that 50th anniversary theme really bought into the whole community because it was a packed house and there's a lot of people there. But the journey that we went through was I met a lot of people that were genuine that night and that really cared about Mesa football. And Rance Allen was one of them. Rance impacted me by just shaking my hand and telling me, this is a great opportunity for all of us to get back together and be a part of this Mesa football family. And I've drawn very close with him over the last month or two, just on phone calls and talking through things. And it just reinforces what Mason, the Mason community is about and what Mason football is about. And it's made a big impact on him. His head coach made a big impact on him. His friends made a big impact on him. He said there's not a day that doesn't go by where a person from Mason doesn't call him or stop in. And it's just goes by the old saying, once you have a friend in Mason, you got a friend for life.
When Rance was in high school, he acquired many friendships and was just another teenager who liked to have fun. But the kind of fun he had led to something that was very difficult to overcome. Not only is Rance battling cancer right now, but he also dealt with 19 years of drug and alcohol addiction.
I learned how to pray about 19 years ago. This cancer hasn't been my darkest hour. I was deep into addiction at one point in my life for many years, and getting sober and off of drugs was really hard for me till I sincerely hit my knees one day and asked God to take that obsession away. I've had to do work myself. I realized I couldn't sit on my laurels and take it easy, but I really attribute to God and the prayers I prayed to him for taking that obsession away. But that's been my darkest hour, is some of the things I had to get off drugs and the alcohol. And I'd say this mainly for younger people. If you're watching this video right now, my addiction, I look back on, started at a very early age, probably 13 or 14 years old. And if I knew I was going to hurt myself the way I did and other people around me, I'd have never taken that first drug or drink. But I had no conception of what I was doing to myself, and especially people that I hurt along the way, which I know I've been forgiven for. But if there's a young person watching this video today, just believe me, God's there waiting for you and to help you, and there's other help out there also.
Rance has been through a lot in his lifetime and has learned the importance of valuing his friendships.
Seems like the older I've gotten, I have thought about the people I went to school with here in the last 20 years more than I ever have throughout my lifetime. I think you start kind of going back to that, and it's all fond memories, it really is. What I'm going through now isn't the darkest hour of my life. For one reason, to have friends like this, and some of them I haven't seen in 50 years since I've gotten out of school. And it was just like seeing them last week. But I was able to give them a big hug. It's something I didn't used to be able to do, and the older you get, you learn to appreciate that.
As Rance looks back at the times he shared with his teammates, he realizes that those truly were the best days of his life. While battling this disease with the remembrance of his old MHS days, Rance recognizes that the football field was a place he could call home, and that the players were more than just his teammates. They were his family. I'm Allie Eckes, MBC Sports.